Welcome, everybody, to the Mind, Body, and Soul television show on Conscious Evolution Media. I'm your host, and this show has been around for, my goodness, more than 8 years. And we'd love to have you. We're streaming on consciousevolutionmedia.com. We are also live on YouTube Live, as well as Google+. And I have a great guest. I think you're going to be quite positively surprised. Not that you're not, usually. I think most people are when we do our shows. But Carl is a special guy, so I'm going to introduce him officially. His name is Carl Gruber. He is a law of attraction life coach as well as an author. As we go along, but my first question to you is, if I take away all of these titles, like a law of attraction life coach, an author, a friend, a marathon runner, all the titles that people have ever called you, if I take them all away, what's left? Who is really Carl Gruber?
Well, that's a great way to start a show. I really like that. Before I answer that, Steve, I just want to tell you, I really love your laugh. You have a great, hearty laugh that's just contagious, and it's a reflection of the old adage, a merry heart doeth good like a medicine. So I really enjoy it. But who is Carl? Wow.
Thank you. I plan to live for a long time.
I like it. But
and every laugh adds 10 to 12 minutes.
Great perspective. I like that. But yeah, who is? Gee, that's great. I'm a genuine guy who is basically pretty easygoing and has been on a journey of awakening to just enjoying life and trying to inspire other people through my own actions. And I have a lot of personal mottos, but my one I really like is a picture of this little dog flying through the air with a great big grin on his face, and it says, "Live life like they left the gate open." That's me. It is.
Well, were you always that way, or is it just the last maybe 20 years?
No, I've always been a pretty easygoing guy.
Were you always this way?
Yeah, I've always been a pretty easygoing guy. I get my stressed out moments, and moments of lack and self-doubt. I mean, we all go through those periods, but just overall, I think you and I chatted briefly yesterday that life is too crazy to take seriously, and so we should just laugh at it and enjoy life as best as we can, and why not?
Yeah, absolutely. So I scanned your book, the Running for Their Lives book that you authored, and it's not easy to impress me anymore because I've done this way too long, and I'm not also easy to inspire because I haven't done this long enough. So I was totally inspired by your experience, and really that book of yours is an incredible experience. We actually take pride here on our network to have people come here, and this is also based on the law of attraction. We're attracting people to our network now, and it wasn't always like this, and it's probably partially a reflection of my own self and my own growth and the network's growth. But we are more and more attracting people that are actually walk the talk, and to me that's really important, because there are many people in the world that are very good talkers, especially, you probably know, in radio. Yeah, but that doesn't mean, or television, but that walk it.
In my case, run it.
Yeah, in your case, run it. Yeah. And I have no idea. I mean, I am not a runner. I like to bike, and I like to play tennis, and I like to do other things. But running is something that, oh my God, just the idea when I started to read your book, and just the idea that you took this on, and I really want the viewers to get in touch with this. You took this on. You didn't take on just one marathon.
No,
you took on 52 of them, And you dedicated an entire year of your life to this.
I did, for
I mean,
leukemia.
I can't even communicate it properly how freaking huge this is.
Well, thank you, Steve.
Help me.
You told me that I was going to have to accept compliments, and that one I really do appreciate. Just so
This was a
people,
compliment. This was a compliment, by the way.
if people understand where we're coming from. 1996-97, I became the 9th man in the world to run 52 marathons in 52 weeks, and I did it to raise money and awareness through leukemia research. And I've experienced over the years, many people don't even know how long a marathon is. Their favorite question of runners is, how long is this marathon? And they're all the same. They're all 26.2 miles. So once a week I did that in 26.2 miles, yep. Once a week for 52 straight weeks and it wasn't to show how cool I was. I knew a little boy who had passed away from leukemia. I was single and healthy and a wild and crazy radio disc jockey at the time. And I just decided, what can I do to make a difference in the world and help out? And I came up with this wacky idea, and boy, talk about trust. I went out and did it. I accomplished it and raised a lot of money and awareness for leukemia research. And I like to point out, from the 16 years ago that I did that, boy, the rate of remission in leukemia now is fantastic. And I like to believe that I played a little part in that. It was an amazing
wait a minute. Before you do like a runaway train here, I'm going to put the brakes on for a second. So why did you pick leukemia to begin with? I need to get some clarity about that.
Well, really, it wasn't as complicated as you would think. I had been running for years, and I came home one night, and in my mailbox was a little postcard from the Leukemia Society. They had just come up with a marathon training organization called Team and Training, where runners, healthy runners, would raise money while they trained for a specific marathon for leukemia research. And I got the card, and it said, hey, how would you like to go to the Honolulu, Hawaii Marathon in 1994 and run it? We'll pay your way there. You just have to raise this X amount of money. I go, aloha, brother, I'm there. I can do that. And so that's how I got hooked up with leukemia. And then they hooked me up with a patient, and I hooked up with this little 5-year-old patient who I got inspired me.
Wow, that's really cool. So, wow, so this is from a postcard. You know, this is like another example. Like, we never know what could happen in the next minute.
Absolutely.
You could get a postcard and your life is changed. So, wow, you continue to amaze me. So here we go. So you talked about in your book, I think maybe in the foreword you talked about some Hungarian guy, a book, and I forget his name. Because his name is too long, and I still speak Hungarian, but I don't speak it. I haven't spoken it probably, I don't know, 15, 20 years, so I don't remember what his name was. But that's interesting. And you also mentioned Napoleon Hill, I think several times in your book, which, you know, we did a whole series on Napoleon Hill. So we have a lot of stuff, you know, in common as well. And I'm curious, I mean, I was reading different parts of the book because I didn't have time to read the whole thing, but I will. I was just kind of skimming through it, and it's full of really connections. You very well describing incredible connections with people, and really what is life all about if it's not about conversations and connected to people and connected to ourselves. So it's really, in a way you can say, I think you say it in different ways, that it's not about the running. Absolutely. It is and it isn't. It is and it isn't. So if it's not about just the running, then what it's about? Well, I felt that it was about how your experience unfolded. I mean, this is a year of incredible things happening, and you traveling all over the place, not just in the U.S., but I noticed you came here to Colorado too. I think you were at Steamboat Springs.
I did.
And you went to Canada. What other place did this whole thing take you other than the U.S.? Well, Hawaii.
Yeah, originally I planned it to be worldwide, but finances didn't pan out for it. But still, it was astounding. I ran almost all 52 in the U.S. continental U.S., but I did I think 3 or 4 in Canada, 1 in Anchorage in Alaska, and then I did 5 in Hawaii because I fell in love with Hawaii. I figured this is a great way to go visit Hawaii a lot. So yes, I traveled 120,000 miles in 1 year. I drove 65,000, and I flew 65,000 all by myself. It was something.
Yeah, well, that's fantastic. By the way, this whole thing about the book and about your story should be on your front page on your website, because it's lost somewhere in, I mean, there is a link to it on the top somewhere, but people are not going to find it. People have no patience anymore. They go to these websites, they look at it, and you've got a video there, which I watched. I could only watch it, to be honest with you, for less than 15 seconds because it's very cheesy. But please get rid of that and put your book there and put part of your story there, because it's phenomenal. This is, I mean, there's only 9 people in the world that have done this, and you gotta use this as a way to communicate that you are a person, you are a coach that walks the talk. It takes, I mean, come on, Carl. I have been biking now for the last 3 weeks. I mean, I've been biking on and off for a couple of years, but I made a commitment, and guess what? I've been doing it for the last 3 weeks every day, and you know what? It takes something. It takes something to get me the heck out of my studio and get on the bike and go biking. It's not that simple. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, there's the reason that the old adage, the most important part is taking that first step and getting out. Even I went for a run this morning, and I splashed a couple cups of coffee on my face, and it was just even me, who's been doing it for 35 years of running, to get out the door. And once I got out there, I felt great. And I want to correct you on something. I was the 9th man in the world as of 1996. Since I completed it, dozens and dozens of other people have raised the bar way above that. But I like to say that I raised the bar for them.
Well, great. That's okay. It's still one heck of a title. It's still one heck of an accomplishment. I think it's like one of those lifetime accomplishments.
Definitely.
And it's not something that, I mean, 1 out of what? 10, 100 million people can say that they've done this. So I think it's still absolutely outrageous and incredible, and it communicates volumes in terms of who you are and how you can help people, because you know what it takes, and instead of just doing it from like a lot of life coaches, there's tons of life coaches out there, hundreds of thousands of them, and they haven't done anything other than taking a course.
And Steve, that means a lot what you said to me. I really appreciate the fact that you could see below the surface of my book is, people just see, well, it's about running. But no, you're exactly right. It's about taking inspired action to, as I like to say, unleash that champion within you. My personal motto is ordinary people can accomplish extraordinary things, and that's the real message on my book. My story is that I'm an ordinary runner. I'm not fast, but I sure have a lot of endurance. And an ordinary runner, Carl Gruber, went out and accomplished extraordinary. And as a life coach now and a running coach, I promote that. Look, I have this platform of integrity, like you said, to stand on. And look, you can do it, and it doesn't have to be running. It could be.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I saw myself in your book. I said, oh, my God, look at how similar we are. I am to you, because I've been, if we replace running with broadcasting, I've been doing this thing for 10 years. And so I'm going to ask you the question, how many times when you did that 1 year of marathon running, you wanted to quit?
Oh, yeah, I did dozens and dozens and dozens of 14 to 16-hour drives by myself, and I'd be driving through the heart of Nebraska or North Dakota and going, what the hell am I doing? I'm out of my mind. And then I would think of of the leukemia patients. I mean, it does sound cheesy and corny, but it was real. I really believed in what I was doing. And Steve, when people find out that you're on a mission that has a core, basic, good belief behind it and motive, people get on the bandwagon because they believe not only in you, but they believe in your mission. And that's how I ended up meeting so many wonderful, wonderful people, strangers who turned into best friends within 2 or 3 days, you know. It was wonderful.
But you see, I want to highlight this for our viewers. I mean, you already know this, but the important part here is that also I can't count on my 2 hands how many times I wanted to quit in the last 10 years, but I didn't. So the point is that when we're passionate about something and when you connect it to something bigger than us, because what I'm doing is much bigger than me, totally much bigger than me, and what you did is much bigger than you. And when we connect it to something like that, and I tell this to people, is that the only difference between me and you, not you, Carl, but just the person, not that we're not average, we're average too, but the only difference I can see is I didn't take this on, did it for 2 years, and then because I didn't make millions of dollars, quit. That's the only difference. I believed in what I'm doing, and I still do today. That's the only way I can get through each day and get up in the morning and do it again, is because I believe in what we're doing. I believe that we provide value, and I believe that we serve people. And even if I don't know it, or somebody doesn't call me, or doesn't email me, or doesn't make a comment, that doesn't matter. We make a difference in the world, and that's why I do what I do.
And you know, Steve, you're correct in that. And you know, we continue doing what we do because we believe in it and we have a passion. And where we come in with the rest of our listeners out there is how many of those people get up every morning and go to work in doing something they don't believe in. So you and I are here to inspire those people to believe, to look deeper within themselves to their true passion, what I would call pre-installed divine mission to come when you came here, when you were born, and they forget it's in there. So if they can draw inspiration from Steve and Carl, maybe they can look deeper and go and accomplish their extraordinary with their passion.
Oh, absolutely, because everybody has something. It's within everybody. It's just, you know, for a long time we ignore it. I ignored it for quite some time, so I'm no different. But you know, I finally connected to it once all the other stuff that I was up to, all the pretending and all the crap that I was doing, I finally got tired of it. So yeah, right on. So I'm also curious. I mean, you attracted some incredible sponsors like Power Bar and Kroger. How the heck did you pull that off?
Remember, I used to be in radio.
Yeah. How can I forget?
I used some of my connections, and I was fortunate that way. And really, it was, I had some great sponsors, but really it wasn't enough. I really accomplished that year with my equity line of credit on the house I used to have. But Kroger sponsored me, giving me $5 per mile for 52 marathons in a row, and then Power Bar paid me money for appearances on radio, television, and newspaper, and there were a couple other little things, but really I sold some T-shirts that said, I call it the Super Run for the Cure, Super Run for the Cure on my mission along the way, but really I paid for most of it, but that's okay. I would go back and do it all over again the same way because it was so worth it. And I really, really think that it helped the world in leukemia research.
Yeah, no doubt. So after you came back from that year of life-changing experiences, what were you faced with? Like, what was next?
And you know, I think anybody who is on the other side of just finishing a great achievement is kind of like, oh, cool, I did that, you know, and well, okay, now what? and you know, so I took a few weeks off from running and got back into it, and I transferred from radio broadcasting into the fitness industry and started working in health clubs and things like that. And it's been a mission, and I found life coaching over the last couple years here, and it was just a natural extension. So I can't say that I had any big mission. I did move to Hawaii. I did come back to the Midwest, and after this winter, I'm not sure why, but you know, so my big quest now is what I'm doing right now, talking to people like you, promoting my book and my mission of changing the ordinary person into extraordinary, unleashing the champion.
And how is that going?
It's slow going in my evolution. It's good. I'm making progress, and I love every moment of it. It goes right along with my personal evolution journey as a person opening up and awakening, and I'm just discovering that there's more to what we see than what's on the news. Thank God. Thank God.
Really?
You know?
I don't even watch the news anymore.
Either do I.
It has nothing to offer me.
Yeah. Right.
It's all negative stuff. It's all they can talk about is, you know, who caused what crime.
and you know, Steve, you're touching on a favorite topic of mine. I really don't get a chance to talk about it too much, but no, that is a sad thing. The world views negativity as reality. And that's, so if you go in a casual conversation with a person that you may have just met recently and you're chatting and you voice a lot of optimism in a lot of certain ways, and people look at you like you're being Pollyanna, you know, oh, that's not real, you know, there's going to be a tidal wave tomorrow. And this is what they accept as reality. And like I said, just watch the news, read the newspaper, and have a casual conversation, and that comes across. And the problem with thinking that negative perspective being reality is it's energy draining and it's destructive, not productive over a long period of time in your life if you continue to dwell there and believe that. And
yeah, no question. Well, I'm not suggesting, and I'm sure that you're not suggesting either, that that's not real, because it is real. What they're talking about and all the negative stuff, it's all real. It's just we have to remind ourselves and remind everybody that we have a choice of what it is that, because you can view it as I sometimes talk about it as a smorgasbord. So, you know, if you go into a smorgasbord, you know, what does everybody do? You are choosing what you're going to eat. So watching news and watching television and all the programming that's really is all about killing each other, and it's all about you know, if that's what we are feeding into our brain, guess what?
You know, Steve, and you made a good point there, making a choice. Let's use me at the moment when I decided to do 52 marathons in a year for leukemia. So I knew this little boy who died at the age of 7 after knowing him for a couple of years from leukemia. I could have chosen to get depressed about it and say, oh, whoa, no, he's dead. And you know, I'm grieved about it and everything, but I chose the positive, productive path. Okay, I'm going to go run a marathon a week for a year, and my goal was to raise $1 million through leukemia research. So that's exactly what you talked about. We can be in a negative situation, but you make a choice for the positive, productive.
So how close did you come to the $1 million?
Well, let's put it this way. I really ended up only raising about $35,000 simply because it was a learning experience in doing that. Not everybody believed in me, what I was doing. Even the people within the Leukemia Society didn't. Most people didn't believe in me, but I put that behind me. But I did probably over 100 interviews over the years. So you being in broadcasting, understand the dollar value of publicity. So I probably got them $1 million worth of publicity. I was in the Washington Post, you know, Chicago Sun-Times, LA News, et cetera, et cetera. I was on ESPN, countless local broadcast things. So I did make my $1 million, but it was via getting them publicity.
Okay, well, it's still value.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, yes.
because otherwise they have to pay for it. So
That's right.
there's no free advertising on television or radio.
No.
So yeah, okay. Well, congratulations. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Believe me, once a lifetime is enough. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's just you gotta be somewhat crazy somewhere in there to
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
able to take this on. This is like, it sounds like if you tell me, okay, Steve, so are you willing to take on 52 weeks? I mean, 52 marathons.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say right now, I would say I'm gonna die after the fourth one.
Well,
So no, I'm not gonna take it on.
you
But
know,
you took it
Steve,
on. Oh my
I
God!
did.
But then it's no different. I mean, if I say to you or anybody else, and I did, and people were trying to talk me out of it, and when I got into this business, it's the
Yeah.
same thing. Are you willing to do this for the rest of your life? Basically, is
Mhm.
what I was suggesting to myself that if
Right.
you're going to change your life and you're not going to live your life the way you did yesterday, if tomorrow is a new chapter in your life, are you willing to do this for the rest of your life? And I said yes. And I'm going through some stuff right now where I am like, oh my God, this is
Mhm.
10 years, more than 15,000 shows. How many more shows can I do? Well,
Mhm.
the answer is it's not about how many shows I can do. It's about who I'm being.
Mhm.
Like right now with you. That's what it's really about. It's not about, oh, I got another show done. I don't care about the numbers anymore. I mean, did it occur to you after a while, or was it always about the numbers?
Oh no, it was never about the numbers.
It was never about the
It
52
it was
weeks and the
about the
52 marathons.
it was about the mission, and the 52 marathons were a vehicle to create awareness and money for leukemia. But I had only run 9 marathons before I did the 52, and while I was running my streak, a fellow runner who was running a streak of his own told me that he thought I had a lot of chutzpah for thinking that I could do it, to use the Yiddish term. And
Mhm.
I always come back and say ignorance was bliss, because I had no clue what I was getting into. But I did it.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, yeah, absolutely awesome. So, I want to acknowledge you again, up and down, sideways, any way I can, because this is like totally huge. And the
and
only reason I also say, to people that on the network that I've done more than 15,000 shows, so people can put it into perspective, because there's so many, anybody can start a TV show these days, anybody can start a radio show, but how long will you last is the question. It's like if you tell me, Steve, you got to go do these marathons. I mean, I've done some in Boulder. I used to do it annually,
mm-hmm.
but that's only 6 miles, and that wasn't easy.
Yeah,
And you're probably going 6 miles. That's nothing.
the Boulder. The
The Boulder. But to me, that was a big deal.
mm-hmm.
And to a lot of people, it's a big deal.
fifty
And
thousand.
and I was proud of myself that every year I accomplished it.
Good for
And
you.
and so yeah, I mean, the point of the matter is that these things that we choose to do, that we're connected to and we're passionate about, and we love, it makes a difference, not just in our own lives, but who knows in whose lives it's going to make a difference. And I'm at a point where I don't need to track that no more. You know what I
And
mean?
and Steve, that's an important point that you make there also. A lot of people will do something in a generous way and whatever to help somebody or some cause, and they might think, well, does anybody really appreciate it? Just throw that out the window. When you do something good for the world, for your neighbor or organization, whatever, the extent of your positive influence is so far reaching that you will never, ever truly realize how extensive your influence, your positive influence, was in the world. A real good example, and this is a little bit technical, but if you change your path a half a degree as it goes down farther and farther that degree becomes bigger and bigger, and that's when I'm the example of your influence. It's a snowball of people appreciating what you did over, more and more and more people over a long period of time. We'll never understand it, but it's so extensive, and that's the beauty of doing, walking and living your life in what I call right-mindedness.
Yeah, awesome. So now that you mentioned that, let's talk a little bit about your life coaching. And when did you take that on?
Well, I graduated from a year-long academy, and I took that on in the spring of 2011, and it's funny because you asked how did I get into the leukemia thing. It was a postcard. Well, I got an email and said, hey, how would you like to be a life coach, right?
So let's tell people that marketing does work. because most life coaches and most people in our industry, in the helping industry or personal development industry, they don't get the value of marketing.
Yeah, at least it works at Carl Gruber, That's it. But I was working. As I mentioned, I got into fitness. I was working in a running specialty store for 12 years, and I got this email, and this light bulb just went off in my head because I have been on this journey for decades of what I call positive possibility power thinking, and I saw this. I go, wait a second, I can actually get certified as a law of attraction life coach. And then I can actually help people legitimately manifest and create the life that they really want. And I said, I'm there. And it wasn't cheap, but again, with my blind faith, I just threw my credit card at them and said, okay, sign me up. And it was a beautiful course. I'm so grateful. I graduated from Christy Whitman's Quantum Success Coaching Academy, and I'm actually a mentor for them right now.
Oh, awesome. So, so let's talk a little bit about what it takes for people to actually realize that if they could have done it themselves, whatever it is that they want to do in their life, they would have done it already, and why they need somebody like you to help them along.
Well, first of all, I always let people know that where you're at right now, it's okay to be there because you're actually right at the exact point in your journey in your life where you're supposed to be. And in this case, it may be seeking some guidance in how to achieve what it is, no matter what it is in your life that you want to create. And most people are creators by default in their life, simply because being a practitioner of the law of attraction, which is said to be the most powerful law in the universe, the most simple definition is like attracts like. And because people still, to this day, even as popular as it is, don't understand what it is, they just kind of go through their life like a ship without a rudder. And, this pushes them over that way in their life and over here. And when you come to understand that what you think and dwell upon, the universe sends you more of, and the universe is completely objective, then you start to think, oh, maybe I better pay attention to what I'm thinking about. A good example of that is, how many people do we know come home from school or work say, man, everybody in the office is getting the flu, geez, they sneezing. I know I'm going to get the flu. I'm going to get the flu. I know it. And all the universe hears is flu. And sure enough, you get the flu. And that's just one tiny example. So once you understand this, then you can become what we call a deliberate creator. You can make that choice that we were discussing earlier. So if you find yourself saying, oh, I'm going to get the flu, wait a second, that's not what I want. Let me focus on what I really want. I don't want to get the flu. I don't want to get the... Then, as your thoughts dwell in that area, the universe hears, no flu, and you stay healthy. And that's, again, a tiny example.
Yeah, got it. All right, so, what I'm getting these days is that a lot of people, and I'm talking about millions and millions and millions of people, are on the fence about really going home. And what I call going home is in my experience, and that's the only reference point I have is people are looking for the answers to their questions and the answers to the solutions of their problems always outside of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
There's always some what I call shiny object out there that we need to go pick up, and once we get the shiny object, everything is going to be cool. But then, as soon as we pick it up, it's no longer shining, and then we're looking for another shining object.
Mm-hmm.
And we keep doing that for years and years and decades and decades, and and the list just grows longer and longer. We keep a lot of people are checking things off. I did this, I did this, I did. But at the end of the day, people are not happy, not fulfilled, not satisfied, and not living life to the fullest. They're chasing shiny objects.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the major purposes of our network is to help people to go within. How could you, since you're on the Mind, Body, and Soul TV, which is, a show that's been around for 8 years now, what could you say to the viewers that would help them to go within? And do you even agree with me?
No, I absolutely, totally agree with you, and I'll give you an answer to that. We certainly could extend this into some very deep spiritual conversation here, but what I tell people up front is whenever I go out and talk to groups, or if I'm speaking with a coaching client, etc., only you, are the writer, producer, and director of your life. Not your wife or your husband, not your boss, not your mom or dad, not your teacher, only you, because you create the life around you. Again,
Yeah. And those people you just mentioned, they are the cast, and you put them there.
That's absolutely right, and that's absolutely right. And so when you understand this, instead of looking outside of yourself for that next shiny object, look inward and understand that you create that. And this is very difficult for somebody who's been trained from infancy until adulthood that you can't have this, you can't do this, know this, all these paradigms of judgment, of lack and attack.
Yeah, a lot of people don't get that. A lot of people don't get what you mean by go inward. What do you mean by that? How do they even begin to do it? It's just a concept that a lot of people cannot.
Well, we live in a very chaotic society with a lot of cacophony around that. I mean, all kinds of distractions, sound and people and noises. And the first place is to start is to sit down in a quiet place where you cannot be disturbed, whether you have to go to the local park or whatever, and just sit down and be quiet for a while. And whether you want to call it praying or meditation, get in a quiet, still place and start listening to yourself. Being a runner, I see everybody, literally probably 85% of the runners I see, I'll have earbuds in because they're listening to music when they're running. And God bless them, that's okay. But most people are afraid to listen to themselves, to their inner talk. They're afraid to listen to their own thought. So if you can finally get in a place where it's quiet and get in that still place and just try to connect with what I call the divine, the universal source. People will say God or Allah or Muhammad. I call it the source or the creator, whatever works for you. And that's the start, Steve. When you finally can take the time to connect yourself, make it a daily habit. I get up, I have my cup of coffee, I check my email, I sit down and I do a meditation for anywhere from 20 to 60 minutes. I go for my run. And that is when I connect. And during my morning meditation, not only am I trying to connect to my divine inner self that, like I said earlier, is pre-installed when you came here with your true self, your true passion in life. When I connect with that, I also throw out my affirmations about what I want to manifest and create in my life, my goals and dreams. We already talked about the law of attraction. I go for my run, or in the listener's case, they may go to work or drive into work or go for a walk. That's when you repeat those affirmations over. It's an extension of your meditation. If you continue to do this with consistency, that's the start to awakening to the true divine self, looking inwards. what was the term you think? Going home. That's what you said. Going home, and that's a good place to start.
Awesome. You know, I was just listening to you, and I was yeah. So I want to mention this on the show because it's not evident. Okay. What I want to mention is that as I was listening to you, I didn't have all this stuff going on in my head about what you're saying. I wasn't judging what you're saying. I wasn't planning what I was going to say once you're finished. And I think this is important to hear for a lot of people because I used to do that many, many, many years ago. And I understand now how that is so much in the way of really being connected to myself and to you and to the viewers. There's no way I could do these shows if I would be still doing that, because I would be way too busy listening to the guy on the left and the guy on the right telling me what to do and what not to do. Does that make sense to you?
You know, it really does, and you know, that is really difficult. Even for myself, Steve, what we call monkey mind or mind chatter, that type of thing, it is a hard place to get. Even during my morning meditations, I have to focus, and the ego will shoot in. You know, I'll be sitting there trying to connect with my divine inner self, and all that stuff, and all of a sudden the ego says, "Hey, don't you have to go to the grocery store later and get it?" You know, and I go, "Okay, we'll think about that later." You know,
go to Hawaii.
Yeah.
Send him to Hawaii.
No, but it is. But again, like you, it comes with practice, trying to quiet yourself and quiet that internal chatter.
Yeah, you're right.
I don't know if you'll ever get rid of it.
It takes some time. Yeah,
I don't know if you'll ever get rid of it totally, but as you're an example, you can get to a quiet place like that of non-judgment.
Yeah, so something that I picked up on that you said, because I'm listening very attentively here, is you said the pre-installed program, which is that we all come to this existence with something that should be unfolding, you know, throughout our lives, something that has to be connected or must be connected to our passion, and something that we absolutely feel that when we're doing that thing, we come alive. And this comes up for me so many times a day that we are so much like computers, it's not even funny. So I am trying to sometimes think, so what was here first, us or the computers? Because yes, computers only been around for like 30-some years.
Right, yeah.
We've certainly been here for a lot longer than that. But if you're thinking about this for a minute, I mean, look at us. I mean, we have eyes, which is nothing more than a camera. we have ears. We have our mouth, which is nothing more than a mic, right? We have our minds, which is what? Processor and memory. We have our hearts. I mean, you can go through the entire human being and get that we probably recreated computers from our own self. What do you think about that?
Well, Steve, what is the computer missing? That essence of a human being, what I call the divine inner self. Computers don't have that. You know, sure, we may have created the computer basically in our physical image.
But it has a reset button, which we don't have. And once it's not working and you press the reset button, everything starts working again.
Well, but
I like that about computers, and I don't like that about human beings.
Well, that's physically, Steve. You know, we don't necessarily have a ultimate reset button physically, but you and I, on our journeys, our individual journeys in our life, we've hit the reset button on our journey, on our overall life, our mental concept. That we can do.
Yeah, I believe we do have a reset button. You know what it is? You know what it is?
What?
the reset button is our ability to connect to the energy of love and to our higher self. That's the reset button. Because if we are unable to do that, I mean, this is just a conclusion that I came to after so many freaking years, and I may change my mind about it later. But right now, what's present for me is that once I can connect to my, and this is how, people don't hear this that watch our shows, but there's a certain routine that I do with all of our guests before the show starts, and I do specifically say, to make sure that you're grounded, make sure that your heart is open, and this doesn't mean that people will do what I say. That doesn't matter. I'm not doing it for the purpose of controlling other people. I'm doing it for me.
Yeah.
because if I'm not present, if I'm not grounded, and if I'm not, I'm vibrating right now, and if I'm not connected to this energy, I have a completely different show. Which I can say that if that happens, the show is running from and by my ego.
Well said.
So the conclusion that I came to is that our reset button is our ability, because when we, I think, operating correctly and magnificently, is when we're connected to our energy of love and our hearts, not necessarily our minds. And I even say this many times that our minds is a great thing to waste. Well, I'm gonna get emails, but that's okay. I don't care.
I think we can end the show right there. I don't know if I can top that, because that was a beautiful, beautiful statement. Thank you, Steve. That was wonderful. But it's true. It is really true. That is a wonderful way to look at it. So you'd be a good life coach.
Yeah, I did that for way too long.
Oh, okay.
I gave it up, and at the time when I was doing it, I've been in this personal development gig for more than 30 years, and at the beginning, the first probably 20 years, that's what I did. I pretended that I was a really good life coach, and I probably was pretty good, but I never took my own, all the suggestions and all the way I help people, and I connected them to, what's important to them, help them to connect themselves. I could never do anything for anybody other than to turn on the light switch, because I found in coaching is that what our role is, and you can correct me because you're in it now. I haven't been in it for the last, I don't know, decade. But what it is really is the reason why we should all have a coach, including me, and I do, is that we have blind spots. I have blind spots. You have blind spots. You can't see it because you just can't. There's no explanation why you can't see it. There's no explanation needed. You just can't see it, because if you could, you would have done something about it already. So what the coach does is turns on the light so you can see it.
And also, this is very common amongst coaches in general, whether you're a sports coach or a life coach. We will take our students, our clients, and show them, guide them the path, because the power is with them. But a lot of times we don't integrate it in our own life, and you're absolutely right. And that's because of those blind spots, and we're focused on our clients and students also. So that is absolutely true.
So I decided over a decade ago that as a coach, I was a fake, because I could help other people, but I couldn't help myself. So what I did is I said, okay, let's stop coaching others. I have no right to coach others because I'm not walking the talk. So let's just stop all that pretending stuff, and let's just focus on finding who really Steve is. And that's what I did, and I'm still doing it. So I'm not coaching other people right now because I'm working on me.
And that's the path for Steve, or each of our listeners or our viewers have their own path. For me, I'm on a similar path, but I'm combining, finding out what's good for me, doing the life coach and helping guide other people on. And at this particular point in my life, it's beautiful. I feel in the flow when I'm working with somebody, and that's important too. So,
awesome.
So
What's taking the place really is what I'm still a coach, but I'm a media coach. What turns me on and what I enjoy doing is discovering talent, discovering people, and helping them achieve what they want to do. And that's an awesome feeling for me. And all the stuff that I've done in the last 30-some years is helping me to do that. So I lost interest in life coaching, but at the same time, all the stuff that I learned, including helping others as a coach, I'm now using it for me, which is kind of ironic, but it works. So all the stuff I did, I wasn't really wasting time or energy. I needed to do it because now I'm using it.
And Steve, I go back to my personal philosophy of ordinary people accomplish extraordinary things, unleash your champion within, and so everyone watching, they have, again, I know I've emphasized this earlier, but that passion, that journey, that's what works for you, Steve, and each person has to find out that for themselves. What the sad part is, there are millions upon millions of people that go 60, 70, 80, 90 years, and they never discover it. They never do. And to me, that's the worst thing a person can realize at the end of their life, the dreaded woulda, coulda, shouldas. And at some point in your life, if you want to develop as a person and release, blossom as a person and be a better contributor to the world, look within. And I love how you said that. They want to go home, finding out how to go home. And you need to do that for a true, productive, happy, loving, healthy life.
Yeah, awesome. So let's just take this opportunity and have you mention your website or any other ways that you want people to contact you.
Well, I appreciate that opportunity. They certainly can go to KarlGruberLifeCoach.com. Karl spelled with a K, Gruber, Gruber, KarlGruberLifeCoach.com, and I'll get rid of that cheesy video on the homepage.
Well, that's up to you. That's up to you. I mean, just because I said, I just truly felt that way, and I didn't mean to embarrass you or anything.
No,
it's just,
not at all.
It's just I was watching it and I'm going like, oh my God, no. I can't take that stuff until I know the person.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
Now, because I took the time and I really looked into your book and found out who you really are, which doesn't take me that long. Mm-hmm. And now I had this whole hour with you. Now if I watched the video, I would just smile and I would care. But I'm just looking out for you because a lot of people will not do what I just did. Yeah. I mean, I cannot tell you how many people I know in our business that don't do their homework before they talk to their guests. There's a lot of them.
I appreciate it. But people can also look me up on Facebook. That's a great way for any business or career. Just Karl Gruber Life Coach. Just go search it on Facebook. And I finally acquiesced and I joined up Twitter because business-wise, it is great to have those followers. Just at the @ symbol and KW Gruber. That's how you can, or just search my name. And let's see. My book, Running for Their Lives, is available on Amazon.com. It's my publisher, Ex Libris Publishing, has it either as an ebook, hardcover, or a soft cover. And I recently, in the last week, finished writing an ebook called The Three Pillars, and I'm going to release that hopefully in the next few weeks here, and I'll have that on my website too. But I would love to help any viewer out there. It'd be awesome.
Absolutely cool. All right, so this is just another example, Karl, of our shows are, we're coming to the end of the show, but our shows are, an hour long, but they don't occur that way. So
yeah, you're right. Yeah.
It's for me, this is like 5 minutes. So people are very curious and ask me these questions before the shows. How how long is it, an hour? And they go, oh my God, that's a long time. And I go, not really, because it will go so fast that you won't even notice. So hopefully, now that you spent what 16 years in radio, you know something about marketing and sponsors. We have finally made it last year to PBS, and there's a way, and we show you the way after the show is being processed. We will show you the way as to how you can put the show on your website, and how you can get sponsors for it, and how you can get the public to sponsor it to make it the top 10 show every month. And
Awesome.
if you make it into the top 10 show, and people do have to put some money into the kitty, and I like to talk about this at the end of the show because this whole business about put your money where your mouth is, I feel really seriously about, just like you have. And it's not easy to raise money, but I'm learning from the best, and the best is PBS. They have raised, I don't know how many billions of dollars since they've been around since 1964, and they certainly know how to do it. And I'm still learning, and I'm probably learning for quite a while. But it's a very interesting thing, and I think people shouldn't have the expectation that all of these things that we do, like I do these broadcasts and you being the guest, and that this is all happening just from out of our open hearts. Because without putting money behind it, it doesn't sustain itself. I mean, I hope that I'm coming across really authentically right now, because that's how I feel. I don't want people to think this whole business is getting everything for free. That era is way gone. It doesn't even work, because energy, and you'll appreciate this with the law of attraction coaching, is energy has to be given and taken. It's a two-way street, not a one-way street. You can't just always take. I want this for free, and I want that for free. I want everything for free. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way for me.
Well, Steve, I think that all of your viewers can tell that your passion is on display every second you're on the screen, and I appreciate it. I certainly can just feel it coming through the screen there in our conversation, and that means a lot. And the same here. I really, really feel passionate about just helping make the world a better place, whether it's with an individual or the entire world. And I think, as you said, we're a lot alike in many ways. In that way, we're both driven by our true passions.
Yeah, there you go. So I'm going to let you in on a little secret. It's not even a secret. But what my dream is to have Conscious Evolution Media become a household word, so that it's in more than 100 million eyeballs are watching it.
Wow.
And that's as big as your 52 marathons in a year. That's just as big.
No.
But that's what I'm committed to, because I want people to when they make a choice, I'd rather have them watch this kind of programming than to watch what they're watching now.
You're right.
Which is the negative stuff in the news, because if somebody watches like this program, I mean, I'm sure they're going to get something out of it. They're going to be touched, moved, and inspired by something you did, because I certainly have been. I've been totally touched, moved, and inspired by what you did.
Thank you.
Steve,
this is true reality TV right here. It is.
Yes, it is. And I'm going like, I was just saying it to myself before the show. What the heck am I complaining about? That, right now I am a little bit down. Well, Steve, get the heck up your butt and look at what Carl did. And if Carl can do that, I can certainly do it too. So that's how I want to leave the show.
You're going out for a bike ride right after this show, right? You got to do it.
Well, I have a 4 o'clock meeting, but after the 4 o'clock meeting, I'm going out for a bike ride. All right. Yes.
In Colorado, that sounds like a plan.
Yeah. Carl, you've been absolutely awesome. I really enjoyed being with you. You are one heck of a human being, is all I can say.
Thank you. That means so much. And thank you for this is a wonderful, wonderful opportunity. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Steve.
Wait until you see it on the replay. Okay,
I will.
thank you so much, and let's get this show on PBS. Why not?
You got it.
What else are we gonna do? Watch the news? I don't think so.
No.
Okay. Thank
Thank
you
you,
so
Steve.
much. I love you all, and you've been great, Carl Gruber. See you next time, which is just a week from now.
Take
Thank you
care.
all.
Bye.
Love you all. Bye.